The Prometheus spacecraft was in distress. An emergency landing on an unknown planet turned the expedition into a nightmare. The distress signal was lost in the silence of space, hope was fading by the minute, and the remnants of the crew were stuck in a vast, frightening forest. It was not an earthly forest. Trees of unknown metal stretched towards the sky, their branches intertwined, forming a dense, impenetrable dome. Light filtered through the foliage, illuminating strange, phosphorescent plants emitting a dim, greenish glow. The air was heavy, saturated with the smell of ozone and something else, something inhuman. They were wandering through the forest, 4 survivors from a 10-member crew. Captain Allison, Sergeant Richards, Scientist Dr. Lane and Engineer James. Every step was filled with fear. Every shadow is an opportunity to meet what was hiding in the depths of the forest. At first, there were minor incidents, inexplicable sounds coming from the depths of the forest, ghostly shadows flickering between the trees, a sense of continuous observation. But then the disappearances started. James went missing first. They found only his tools scattered next to one of the strange plants. Then Dr. Lane disappeared. No footprints, no clues. Only the deep, dreary silence of the forest. There are 3 left. Hope was fading by the hour, replaced by paranoia and fear. They walked, trying to stay together, but the feeling of loneliness was unbearable. Every minute was spent waiting for whatever was lurking in the shadows of the forest to overtake them. Richards was swept away one night. They saw his last look, caught in horror before he was swallowed up by the darkness of the forest. Only Allison remained. She walked alone, making her way through dense trees, on the ground of which strange plants spread out, emitting a dim light. Her body was shivering from the cold, but the cold from the depths of the forest was even more unbearable. It was the cold of space, the cold of dead, endless space, the cold of the abyss. She felt the presence of something inhuman, something that lived in the forest, something that was watching her, that was playing with her. It wasn't an animal, it wasn't a plant. It was something else, something that was beyond all comprehension. At the end of her journey, she saw him, a huge, distorted tree, from which a bright, blinding light was radiating. She came closer, realizing that this was the end. But there was a strange, soothing lightness in this end. The light engulfed her, and she disappeared, becoming part of this cosmic forest, part of this nightmare. And the forest remained silent, keeping its secrets under the thickening cosmic fog. The space forest continued to wait for the next victims. The cosmic forest that swallowed the crew of the Prometheus was silent, or at least it seemed that way. In fact, there was an ineffable energy hidden in his silence, ancient and powerful. The energy that consumed Allison, Richards, James, and Dr. Lane, not destroying them, but turning them into a part of themselves. Deep in the forest, in the heart of a huge, distorted tree, something incredible was happening. Their essences, their consciousness, intertwined with the energy of the forest, becoming one with this cosmic organism. It was not a process of death, but a transformation, a rebirth. Slowly, gradually, new forms began to appear in the depths of the forest. At first, it was barely noticeable flickers of light, hazy silhouettes. Then the silhouettes became clearer, taking on familiar outlines. It was then Allison was the first to materialize from the energy of the forest. She stood in the center of a huge tree, dazzling light radiating from her like from a star. The others appeared behind her: Richards, James, Dr. Lane. They were different, changed. Their bodies glowed, emitting a soft, greenish light, similar to the light of the phosphorescent plants of the forest. They were not just resurrected, they were transformed. They became part of the forest, part of this ancient cosmic entity. They remembered their past lives, their fears, their hopes, but now they were one with the forest. They were inseparable from it. They came out of the forest. Their bodies radiated a soft light, drawing attention to themselves. The Prometheus spacecraft, lying on the surface of the planet, suddenly burst into bright light. The ship's systems have resumed their work. Communication with Earth has been restored. The crew of the Prometheus has returned. They brought with them knowledge about the cosmic forest, its secrets and power. They became the keepers of this secret. Those who knew the truth about transformation, about rebirth. They weren't the same as before, but they were alive. They're back. And the forest was silent, guarding its secret under the starry sky. He waited. He was always waiting. But now he knew that not only death was hidden in his secrets, but also resurrection.